So we're going to go into understanding debt a bit more. I'm going to start at the absolute beginning, and we're going to build up our knowledge from there. So straight up, what is debt? It's owing money back that you borrowed, usually from a bank in today's context. It usually includes paying interest, which is a percentage extra on top of the money that you borrowed. We'll talk about that a bunch more. And most debts are to be paid monthly and have an expected end date. Now, in the US, we can talk about debt in terms of raw numbers. So currently, if we don't include mortgages, Americans have a collective $12.58 trillion of debt, which interestingly is almost at the level of what it was during the 2008 financial crisis, when it was $13.5 trillion. And this little graph that I have up, if you're looking at the screen, shows us that auto loans make up a big chunk of that, and student loans make up a slightly bigger chunk of that debt. But it's these two together. And I crunched a little number just to observe if there are about 350 million people in the US who have a collective $12.58 trillion in debt, that's $35,942 owed by literally everybody in America. Children, adults, everybody. So a little more about what makes debt up. So we talk about interest rates a lot when we're trying to understand how to attack and hack debt. And an interest rate defines the extra amount of money that you need to pay on money that you borrowed, your loan, on top of what you borrowed. And some really common interest rates are, for student loans, you could have anywhere from a 2% interest rate to a 7% interest rate. Mortgages tend to be somewhere in 3.5 to 5. If you got your mortgage rate, maybe 10 years ago, it could be 8-9%. Personal loans tend to come in around 9 to 12% interest. And credit cards, you can have a 10 or 11% interest credit card, an 18% interest credit card, sometimes even 22, 23% interest credit card. Interest rates usually vary depending on your credit score. And we'll get into what credit scores are a little bit later, but interest rates vary, often connected to how you have officially demonstrated your responsibility. What refinancing is just taking a loan that you have and essentially applying a new interest rate to it. The reason people ever bother refinancing is because you're trying to get a better interest rate to save money. So how does this all work? Let's keep going into our glossary. If interest is the extra amount that you pay on money that you borrowed, principal is the amount that you borrowed in the first place. And it describes the amount that you still owe, not including accrued interest, right? So